juicy mangoes covered in a runny and sticky spicy sauce. And you know, I love a juicy mango, and as I've discovered, Mexico has the best mangoes in the world. But unlike many Mexicans, I still definitely prefer my mangoes without any of that spicy hot sauce stuff. Anyway, if you don't know, I'm Paul, an English guy, showing you Mexico through my eyes. And today, I'm going to talk about things Mexicans do that I won't or can't do. Now, to be clear, let's state the obvious. Not all Mexicans do the things I am about to tell you. Obviously not. Some will feel exactly the same way as me. However, generally, the things I will talk about today, the things I struggle to do or just don't want to do, are really, really common in Mexico. So first up, let's talk about parties. Now we all know Mexicans love a good fiesta. That's one reason why piñatas sell so well, like all these ones around me here. And one thing I discovered in Mexico is that piñatas are not just made to amaze kids at their birthday parties, they can also really amaze adults. I was definitely amazed with some of the piñatas I found today, that's for sure. And what I love about Mexican parties is that everyone is invited too. Mexicans are amazing at making everyone feel so welcome. When I first arrived here, part of the culture shock really was understanding the culture around parties. I felt like Gunter in this advert for a Mexican soft drink.
Gunter. Bienvenido a México, señor.
Bienvenido, compadre.
Esto hay que celebrarlo. Este sábado, fiesta en tu casa.
Recién llegado, un poco como...
No estás en México. Sábado, fiesta en tu casa.
And by the way, as many of you know, Gunter thinks the party is at his house, but it's actually at his colleague's house. My home is your home in Mexico. But anyway, what do many Mexicans do at parties that I won't or can't do? Well, the obvious one was dancing salsa. Those early days were brutal. I felt like a loser, but I can handle the salsa now and enjoy it. However, that's not to say I am completely comfortable with Mexican parties, because I am not. And honestly, if you were at a party with me at 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m, absolute max, I will be saying, that's me done, vamos. And you know, it's nice that Mexicans generally at a party don't worry about time. They really enjoy the moment of being with people they care about and let the night flow. 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 5 a.m, Mexican parties go on and on. But for me, although I have done it, and I'm sure I will do it when True Mexico hits 100,000 subscribers, but it's not something I'm totally comfortable with like many Mexicans are. Aw, look at Bullseye! Let's sort this poor guy out. So what's the next thing I won't or can't do in Mexico? Well, as most subscribers of this YouTube channel know, I adore Mexican food, and you'll often find me at markets like this one enjoying traditional Mexican dishes. However, I definitely don't adore all Mexican food, and there is one particular dish that makes my stomach churn, and it's been served at a little restaurant in the market behind me here. Yes, this is pancita. If you don't know, pancita is edible part of the stomach lining of a cow. The soup, known as menudo, has loads of regional variations, but this one, very typical to Mexico City, has red chili pepper as a base. And it really is a classic Mexican dish. It's associated with special occasions in the family, and I'm sure you can find it easily in the US where there are large Mexican communities. And you know, I wish I liked this dish. I really do. I want to enjoy it like Mexicans do. For example, people eat it as a great cure for hangovers. But sadly, I don't like it. I'll happily drink the soup, but those pieces of cow stomach from different chambers of the stomach with strange biological structures and rubbery textures, I honestly cannot get excited about that. I know many Mexicans feel exactly the same as me. but many love it too. I guess it's one of those things you love or you hate. Which one are you? Let me know down in the comments. What a creative grape display we have here. Check these out. Buy in a bag. Gracias, amigo. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is all about tipping. And in Mexico, it's usual to leave 10 to 15%, sometimes even 20% when eating out. And I'm very happy to tip. It's part of the culture, and let's face it, waiters and waitresses have tough jobs with low pay. Now, unless you are in Japan, where they respectfully bow like this and make you feel honored just because you bought a packet of nuts, in most countries in the world, including Mexico, you'll have good and bad experiences with service. This place behind me has good service, by the way. And in Mexico, according to the law, it's not an obligation to tip. You could walk out without paying it. However, the culture is to pretty much tip every time without even giving it much thought. But now let me tell you something regarding this topic that many Mexicans do that I don't. Well, what I've noticed is that many people here will feel ashamed for not leaving a proper tip, no matter what. Even if the service was awful, the waiter was bordering rude, Mexicans, often even on autopilot, will tip the full amount. Now, it's very rare that I don't tip. Something crazy has to happen for that. But in those really bad experiences, I am definitely not on autopilot. In fact, I feel a kind of rage brewing in my stomach that perhaps many Mexicans don't feel. How dare this waiter automatically add 15% to my bill when he was what I would class as rude? Let me tell you, Tio Paul is not a happy Tio in those moments. Although, saying all this, I will say that most of my experiences in Mexico with service have been good ones. And the next thing that many Mexicans do that I won't do is tell everyone in public my cell phone number, or mobile number as we usually say in the UK. Now what do I mean by this? Well, something happens in Mexico that I find a bit strange. And I'm outside a convenience store right now, and as many of you watching know, sometimes in Mexico, when you go and buy your guilty pleasure like a 7-Eleven coconut donut, I've been known to buy them from time to time, there will be a line full of people paying their bills. Telephone bills, electricity bills, Viva Aerobus flight tickets, you name it, everything. And I've noticed in Mexico, people seem to care far less about their personal data than in places like the UK, for example. Full names, account numbers of bills, etc., all read out aloud in the convenience store in front of the long line behind. And the same applies to phone numbers with pay-as-you-go mobile phones, which many people use in Mexico. People will add credit to their phone and happily read out aloud their number, with the cashier typing the number on the screen in a pretty big size for everyone to see. Now, unless you are a really hot girl who gets a lot of attention on the street, you probably don't have too much to worry about. But still, I'm sure many of you watching, many of you in Mexico too, also don't want to freely tell everyone around you your mobile number. And I've traveled a lot to different countries, and always the process of adding credit to a pay-as-you-go phone is done in a way where no one else is knowing your mobile number. And that's because people care about looking after their personal information. But for me, it seems many Mexicans are more relaxed about that. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, but before you click away, don't forget to check my videos on Patreon for my daily life in Mexico. Loads of my Patreons are enjoying them, and you can too for as little as $1 a month. So please visit my Patreon page and support my work. And thank you so much to all of you on Patreon. You make True Mexico happen. Anyway, if you really did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, share it, leave a comment. I love reading them. And if this is your first time here, why not click on one of my videos on the screen there to watch more? I hope you subscribe. So I'm Paul. This is True Mexico. Hasta luego.